And now, your official TigerBait live show with Mike Scarborough and Buddy Songy starts now.
All right, everybody, welcome in another edition of TigerBait Live. Got a big show for you tonight. Obviously, it's the dog days of summer, middle of July. No baseball, no basketball. Football is just inches away as SEC football media's days start on Monday, and LSU's up first. But obviously, the big news has been in the last week is football recruiting. We're going to touch on that. And like the title of the show says, 5-star Lamar Brown tomorrow at 12:15 on ESPN2. I'll be there. We're going to talk about what he's likely to do. I've had a prediction in on him for months, and I'm not wavering on it. And Anthony de Lafayette is also going to go down tomorrow, later in the afternoon, 3 o'clock. And I think LSU is going to have a good day tomorrow. I'll start that start the show with that for now. Welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you. And look, folks, all of these names that I have on these 2 sheets of papers are new players or players that were hurt or redshirted last year. I did a deep dive into the roster. And folks, forget last year. A sage old man told me, you're not going to see Major Burns in the secondary next year. Folks, it's going to be interesting. We're going to cover it. We're going to break down the roster for you. We're going to do practice reports. I'm excited. Mike, 41 actual new players. That is 48% of a new roster. And then another 19 that are back that either redshirted or were hurt. You didn't have Harold Perkins last year. You didn't have Jacoby and Gilray. Trey Holly still in limbo. And all these guys that redshirted. So my point to start off today is that it's an exciting time, but this is a new dawn. And I think I just read something that Feinbaum, I agree with Mr. Feinbaum on this one. You look at this new talent, and it's got to come together quick. We know the magnitude of that first game. And, oh, by the way, week 3, Ole Miss, and then week 5 on the road. So a lot of new players. Can you get that chemistry? But, man, after you see Muss at the Manning Passing Academy and you look at all these guys getting healthy, Carius Kern just lifted forward a quarter. I mean, there's a lot of players, but how quickly can they get them ready to be under the firing squad on the night of August 30th.
You like it? It seems to be somewhat of a tiny bit of history when LSU quarterbacks make bold statements at the Manning Passing Academy.
No, I thought Muss really handled himself well. They asked him about to jump from year 1 to 2 with Burrow and all that. But I think he did say.
Remember, Burrow made some bold comments.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, nobody's ever going to do that again because nobody believed Joe. And, of course, it came to fruition. But my point is that all these names that I have right here that we're going to go through tonight in the next couple of weeks are new players. And what I'm trying to tell people is that that's what's so damn exciting. I wasn't trying to take a shot at Sage Ryan and Major Burns, but they're gone. You got corners, you got safeties, you got D linemen, you've got guys coming back. So
what are you more worried about, corner or safety?
Offensive line, number 1.
But between those two,
but the defense, obviously, you got to get better play from the safety. I think they've got some corners that can play. I think they've got 4 corners that they can lean on. But we'll get into it. And 18 transfer portal guys, Mike, 22 freshman recruits. That's 40. And then you got a punter and a snapper that puts you to 42. That's almost 50% of your 85-man roster that are new. We'll talk about it. I'm excited, though, because a lot of these guys on this sheet, they can flat out play.
All right, everybody, do me a favor. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. If you're watching this on Facebook, please share to your Facebook feed. We're going to be here till 7 o'clock. And if you're not following us yet on Facebook, please hit the like button and the follow button. And same goes for YouTube, where we're also, of course, been broadcasting for years. If you're not subscribed there, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell. And let's dive right into the comments. Randall Alfrecht, good evening, fellows. Any word on that Jay Johnson pay raise? There's no way LSU doesn't give him a raise, huh? It's been quiet.
Look, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
What did we say? 2.4, 2.5 a year. Jay's making about 1.8. So I think that's the last thing anybody needs.
I think if you get him a 2.4 and then you load in on top of that.
Well, I was going to say 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7. Go up 100,000 every year. He's going to get something like that. That I don't think we have to worry.
I like
about
the
that.
idea of giving him.
Look,
if you give him incentives, he's going to meet them all.
Hey, Woody would get run out of town, even though he's a local guy, if he didn't take care of Jay Johnson.
Yeah,
that's going to happen.
Yeah, if he doesn't take care of Jay Johnson, they go 8-4 next season.
Yeah.
Brad DeVee, good evening, Mike and Buddy. Is this year's LSU team more talented than last year's Ole Miss team? I think it is. Yeah.
Well, Ole Miss, of course,
this is going to be the most talented LSU team since BK's been here.
But I think Brad makes a great point in that question. Ole Miss and Ohio State went to the bank and put all the chips in the middle of the poker table. Ohio State, remember Ryan Day went on speaking and said, I need $13 million for 9 players. He got it, and they won a natty. Ole Miss got everybody they wanted. You were going crazy about the D tackle that you wanted, who was damn good, Walter Nolan.
Yep.
He got all those players, but they choked and lost to Kentucky at home and then laid down at LSU at the end of the game. So we're not going to talk about Ole Miss. We're talking about LSU, and all I'm telling you is that when you talk about these new players, a lot of them have experience and a lot of them don't, like DJ Pickett. How do we know right now, or the LSU team, just how good he's going to be? DJ Pickett's going to be a much better player in week 6, but is he ready to step in and play in week 1? Those are the questions we're going to dive into.
Brad David followed up with another question. Did you see how bad Auburn slipped in recruiting? Looks like Hugh Freeze may not make it. Yeah, I don't think he's going to make it.
I would not want to be a fan of Auburn and Hugh Freeze. That has accident.
Tex.
That has accident written all over it, written all over it.
Yep.
But you know what? It's funny. I saw Auburn and Texas A&M. I've been watching the FCC network and saw some replays. Last night, I saw Alabama get their ass kicked. Sorry to say it that way, by Oklahoma. LSU's got to finish at Oklahoma this year.
That's what I've been talking about all season.
Yeah,
they play different at home.
They play much different. They're
going to be a lot better.
But Auburn beat A&M. A&M was way up there. Auburn beat them in overtime. But I know you lament the fact that the Auburn's game's not on the schedule anymore. But Mike, the big news that'll be coming up here.
I want the Auburn game back.
Yeah, but here's the question.
I couldn't care less about
Mississippi
State.
State. Are they going to go to 9 and tie in with the Big Ten and have 9 conference games, or are they going to stick at 8? If you go to 9, these games like Clemson to open the season are going to go bye-bye.
Who would you rather, Auburn or Florida?
Oh, man, I like playing Florida every year.
It's kind of close.
I'd rather play Auburn every year because they're a cupcake. Hell, but that fell prey to the addition of Texas and Oklahoma. We got to wait to see if they go 8 or 9. If they're going to go
9, I want Auburn back.
Yeah, if they go 9, then you've got some other
Devin Johnson with a super chat. Thank you, Devin. He says, this is BK's only opportunity, and he knows that this roster and coaching has a chance. 2 problems, strength and conditioning, and BK can't fire up a wasp.
Okay, hold on. I heard the last part.
Devin Johnson rolls in with a super chat and starts throwing hatchets.
Well, what do you say about the conditioning?
He's not a fan.
Okay.
Jake Flint
in year 4. BK in year 4.
I don't want to be cutting jokes in November about how they're doing Pilates and not lifting weights like I did last fall.
Well, no, they're lifting. They just had a bit that carries current lifted 425. I do think that one of the things they did in the portal is recruit bigger and stronger and faster. Pyburn comes in at 265.
And by the way, that's Brad Davis. Okay, we get on Jake Flint, but what is the number 1 position on the team that's most likely you're going to say they're soft? Offensive line.
Well, okay, and that's what those guys last year. We don't know what this year's offensive line looks like.
If your offensive line's technique is to take a step and do these things that they do technique-wise, rather than run blocking like they knew how to do out of high school, of course,
Alex Atkins is supposed to help in that area.
Okay.
He's coming over from Florida State, but that is a big question.
I blame Brad Davis for that.
Okay. Well,
and I've talked to offensive line coaches who said the same thing.
Well, Look,
he's on the clock.
We don't know if they're soft on the offensive line, but we're darn sure going to find out tonight of August 30th. Clemson is loaded on the defensive line, and they're going to be coming after Nuss.
Yeah. No, Brad Davis is on the clock. He's recruiting well. He's been recruiting well since he got here. But Joe Sloan's taking a beating, and I think it's more Brad Davis than him.
Well, let's just hope there's not a lot of blame to go around. But
I'm already ready to start blaming people.
Mike's already in midseason form. I'm going to go through some of these players.
They beat Clemson, and we're all. I joke. I'm not joking. It's serious. They beat Clemson, and everybody's going to be singing a different tune.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm just trying to tell people though that what your brain does in the summertime, Mike, is you go back and you remember the way LSU played at the end of the year. Then you go back and watch some of the film and the tape, and you go back to the beginning of the year. And I've always said I like LSU playing the big boys at the beginning of the year. Man, if there was ever a year to have a week 0 and have this group get together and see what they're made of, it would be this year. But that's already gone.
Yeah.
That being said, week 1 Clemson, week 3 Florida, week 5 Ole Miss, whether it's Flint, whether it's Brad Davis, whether it's BK, they've got to start appreciably faster this year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Absolutely. All right. And there we are. Hold on. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Little Alex.
Have you been affected by wind, hail, and tornadoes on the North Shore? Well, we're here to help.
Insurance claim, no problem.
We also have a new franchise location in New Orleans.
We don't build projects, we build memories.
Though you know Pride Roofing is the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Remember to call us at 855-PRIDE-16.
There you go. 855-PRIDE-16. Give them a call and say TigerBait. And with your free roof inspection, they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium free for a year. That's a $99 value. They pay the bill. Again, there's no better roofing company in South Louisiana. Great new office here in Baton Rouge, Houma, the North Shore, New Orleans. Of course, main office in Hammond, owned and operated by Louisiana folks. Mike Faraday, an LSU grad, been knowing him my entire life. And again, if you've got bids out there, they'll beat your lowest bid on that company's letterhead by $150.
Hey, great company, folks. Residential, obviously commercial. And don't forget about those metal roofs. Very, very hot right now with all the metal roofs. Mike Faraday personally works the Baton Rouge area along with his great team. 1-855-PRIDE-16. You need shingles. You need repairs. You need a free roofing inspection. Always call them. And I'm going to say it right now as we start getting into, we said this years ago, but Mike, I think you mentioned it. You're going to have great pride, folks, in the LSU defense this year. I want you to remember us saying that on the night of July 9th. The defense is coming back. Chinese bandits, goal line stands. But, hey, you got a winner every week when you tee it up and play football with Pride Roofing. All we ask is an opportunity, 1-855-PRIDE-16.
That's my buddy. I'm looking down at my phone while the Pride spot was running. Jason Howell at Texags was ringing my phone. And
probably asking, what are you hearing about tomorrow?
Yes, exactly what he's asking about Lamar Brown. And, of course, that's the big deal for tomorrow, 12:15 ESPN2. Lamar Brown, U-High, 5-star defensive line, can play on the O-line. Some folks will list him as an athlete until you know exactly what he's going to be at the next level. Either way, he's an outstanding talent. Been covering him since he got to high school at U-High, and Coach Andy Martin, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Jaquilin Roy.
Yep. And but yeah, it's
and then Keelan Moses last year.
It's gonna go down tomorrow, and my prediction is standing with LSU as being the school. And I think you're staying with that too, aren't you? I'm
staying with that. We do know that these young men nowadays, as well as women, love to have a little fun on Twitter. But I think that especially Mike losing Blaine Bradford to Ohio State. Now, whether that we can recoup that, you can give us an idea on that. But you can't afford to lose Lamar Brown. If he says, I need X amount of dollars, you got to take care of him. But the problem you have nowadays, and oh, by the way, Dion finally said something that made sense. We need a salary cap. We need a salary cap in college football, but it's not that easy because there's so much going under that table once again.
I tell you what, I think this – now I have to go back and look. How's your memory on who – was there an end that was with Dorsey in his class?
Glenn Dorsey?
Was Francois in that class?
Ricky Jean-Francois?
I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. This is the equivalent in my mind of this could be the equivalent of Dorsey and Marquise Hill.
Okay.
Richard Anderson and Lamar Brown in the same class.
Of course, Spears was with Marquise Hill too, and so you go back to the great ones. You want a little taste of Kyle Williams. You want a little taste of Lavallee. You want a taste of those defensive guys. You got to learn what to do with those hands. Get off blocks. Is it run? Is it pass? How aggressive? What do you think?
And by the way, Lamar Brown, if he's not an outstanding defensive lineman, he's an outstanding offensive lineman.
Yeah.
He's going to be outstanding wherever he plays.
Sure.
So that's why you just don't want to lose a kid like that. Even if you're unsure what he's going to be, he's going to be a stud either way. Just like I think Mason Smith, I thought he could have been a much better offensive lineman. Jarvis Landry could have been an all-SEC safety if he wanted to be. He was that good on both sides of the ball. But it eventually works it out where they find the best spot for him.
And look, the fact that Jason is ringing you up, that this is going to be an incredible night with rumors. This is just what goes on nowadays. This guy's going to post something, and everybody's going to repost it. The next thing you know, by midnight, is he coming? And you're going to freak out.
Oh, yeah. Or it's like I'm sitting here with a high confidence level for tomorrow at 6:19 on Wednesday night, and some sack of cash gets dropped in this NIL era.
But here's the deal. It's still not December. So it's good if you get a commitment. I remember when Tristan Keys committed to LSU, and I was all fired up like a DA. And Mike says, what are you doing? What are you getting excited for?
And by the way, you're right what you're getting at, because here's what's happening too. I know LSU has lost one or two guys in the last couple of weeks. But the feeling is we're not done there.
Yeah.
And so it's vice versa here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tristan Keys is a commit to LSU. When ISU, you said 50-50, he'll be a Tiger. You just don't know. But it would be a nice shot of adrenaline and positive impact going into media days. Don't forget LSU, Brian Kelly on the in the media on tap to be first coach. Sankey will go somewhere in the 9 o'clock, 9:10 range. I think BK somewhere around 10 o'clock on Monday.
All right, let's get some more comments in. Thomas Spencer, I predicted LSU will be a much better running team this year, and the defensive front will be a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. If they're a much better running team, it's going to be because that offensive line is a lot more physical. You look back to last year, particularly that Texas A&M game, they got manhandled up front.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree 100% on the D-line being better. I'll go to my cheat sheet here. Here are some of the defensive players that didn't play a snap for LSU that will be on the field on the defensive line from last year. Didn't play. Sadir Mitchell, 99. You know how big he is. Now, he got tweaked, but he's damn good. Zion Williams, another guy. He was a little banged up. He's 94. Brandon Brown is a recruit. Walter Mathis is a recruit. Bernard Gooden, you heard anything on he's not that big, but I heard he's got a good first step. And then your edge rushers, Pyburn, who's 44, 6'4", 265. Jamari Butler, 12, 6'5", 260. And Patrick Payton, 6'5", 255. You put Relaford in with that. And then, of course, we're talking about Jacoby and Gilry, Ahmad Bro, Dominic McKinley, Sean Washington.
Dom McKinley. Have you seen the pictures of him lately?
So my point is I'm going to agree. That defensive line better be.
That gets me more excited for his younger brother, Darius, who told me last night, what did he say, November 8th? November 8th. November 8th on his birthday is when he's going to announce.
And he had a purple snowball while he's telling you.
Yeah.
He's probably going to follow his brother. But throwing those people out there, Mike, we were just talking about getting stronger. That's where you get bigger and stronger when you recruit that size. And when's the last time LSU had 3 or 4 D tackles in the 340, 350 range? And those ends, look, we'll see what Kyle Williams can do, but I'm a big believer of Kevin Peoples, as you know.
That defensive line is going to be very good.
Very good.
When was the last time you thought and what was the last elite defensive line?
Man, look, they're running into me now. There's so many, but I will say this now. In 19,
I mean, you have to go back to Benny Logan in that group.
Well, I'm just going to say this though. In 19, they started pinning their ears back, and Caleb on Chase on and all those guys. They started getting after people, but yeah, you know, it's been a while since you looked at a front four and said all 4 of those guys are going to play it on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been guys that were like good or playing above themselves, but it's not where you were just talking about LSU's defensive front as a wow group.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Spears and Marquise Hill and Kyle Williams and all those guys. I mean, there have been some great ones, but I think that's one of the things that Tiger fans have really been embarrassed about. Be honest. I mean, DBU is going by the wayside, and they don't stop people in the A-gap. Now, I think they're getting better there.
Cheetah Turner says, Devin, he's talking to, he says, LSU is not paying $50 million buyout, plus hire a new big-time coach at $9 million. You want to have money for NIL, so LSU gets some same results with new coach. But BK is not going anywhere.
No.
He can go 5-7 this season. He's not going anywhere at the end of the year. He's got next year. He's got 26 at least.
I look at it in a different light. I look at all this talent coming in here, and I think he's building. Now, he does need to follow up with a big 26-year. I'm going to ask you now. I asked you a couple of months ago, do you feel like this 26 class, this next signing in December, is it going to be a top 5 class?
I think it is.
Okay.
But, and look, even if it's not, they're 15 now. You can figure out do they go 20, 21 on high school, and that'll be the end of it. Maybe have 1 or 2 spots open for someone late in the fall. But the question is quarterback. All right. If you tell me right now that they're not going to sign a high school quarterback in this class, and they're going to go into 26 with the quarterbacks they've got returning on the roster,
you got to go for TP, transfer portal.
Then I'll tell you right now that next year's season for BK is equivalent of this one's from Matt McMahon.
We'll see. I look at it in a different way. I don't even worry about that.
I don't worry about Van. I don't think Van Buren can be a guy for you next season.
Right. Well, look, he's one of the offensive guys that's on.
Got to have a quarterback.
Oh, by the way, 9 transfer portal guys are new on defense. 13 recruits, true freshmen, are coming in. Offensively, 8 transfer portal guys and 9 recruits. You add in the punter and the snapper, that's 41. And then you got all these guys that redshirted. And so, can they have their act together? I want to see what they look like, Mike, because June, July in the weight room is where you gotta.
Cheetah Turner says, please, Buddy Mike, let these LSU fans know that he's allowed at least another 3 years because of the buyout.
I don't even think that way. I don't think Brian Kelly, if he doesn't do this, is going to lose his job. He's got LSU right there.
So he can go
He's squeezing LSU.
He can go 5-7 for 3 more years.
No. But you go 1 year at a time.
Can he go 3 more years without
1 year at a time? We worried about this year. I don't give a F about 3 years from now. Who knows where we're going to be?
All right, Cheetah, I'll do it. He can't go 3 years and not make the playoffs.
Probably right.
Devin Johnson, if you lose the Clemson game and Florida gets going, bro, week 3 would be a huge game in Baton Rouge. I was on a Jacksonville show last week, and their host, who covers that beat religiously, said that the feeling over there is that they didn't like where LSU fell on the schedule for them.
Yeah. Probably a little early for them to be coming to play LSU on the road. But look, you make a good point. Everybody knows it's playoff or bust, but from what my point I was trying to make is that I'm looking at if you do have to get a big time quarterback, and I keep asking you, Are we not hearing any innuendos that somebody's going to reclassify from 27 to be a 26 quarterback? Is that going to happen or not? No?
No.
So you got to get a transfer portal quarterback this year. But
I think you might need 2, depending on what happens.
Yeah.
53449. Hit the like button, guys. Now, is it possible that LSU plays a spoiler and goes in November and they do what Michigan did to LSU last year? Yeah. But how much do you pay? How much are you willing to pay for who you're going to go after?
Now, you're talking about Lamar Brown or somebody else?
No, I'm talking about going for a quarterback who's committed to somewhere else right now and going and offer them a ton of money.
Well, and then
then it's like, okay, well, if you offer that person to steal them away $8 or $9 million, how much you have for next year's guys? Elijah Haven and Nussmeier or Houston or whoever it ends up being.
Yeah. Well, that's why
you can't have $20 million wrapped up in quarterbacks.
Well, and that's why even though you're going to allocate $14.5 million or whatever for football, that's a drop in the bucket for the whole team on NIL. So you still have to have the collectives and the sugar daddies.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what we got here. LSU defense will be improved from last year. We'll finish in the top 50. Absolutely, they will.
Finish in the what?
It's going to finish in the top 50. I think it's going to finish in the top 25.
I was going to say top 30 is what I'm going. So top 25, top 30.
Yep.
And if that doesn't happen, we'll all be disappointed.
And if they make it to the playoffs at 10-2 or 11-1, I think the story will be how good that defense is.
And I'm hoping, man, there would be fireworks in Tiger Stadium.
A lot more takeaways.
No, I know, but LSU, the 8 seed, playing Notre Dame, the 9 seed in Tiger Stadium. That would be, well, I can't say it, but it starts with an O.
Yep. John Cueve, if Perkins stays healthy, I think he'll stop the running quarterback issues. All right, let's see. We got a bunch of guys communicating amongst themselves. All right. Christian, what about Hurley, Mike? You don't think he can be a franchise guy? Look, where's he at right now?
We saw him all of what, 1.5 or 2 practices?
I don't know what to make of him. I don't have a strong feeling.
Well, I'll say this.
I want the best for him.
I'll say this.
Juwan
He was
Johnson
as
as
good
well.
an interview before coming to LSU as Russell Shepard was. Russell Shepard was a 5-star that we thought was going to be a quarterback. And, of course, we saw duck season when he was throwing with the Quacks. I think the big knock on Hurley coming out of high school was completion percentage, accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big, strong kid. He's a smart kid.
I know a lot of people were talking about how bad his film was senior year and all that.
But once again, this is what it takes. Joe Sloan and all those guys have got to bring out the best. And you know what? You're not going to get any reps this year because Nuss is going to play most of the game. You know, they're not going to take Nuss out worrying about the next club. So that's why we're talking about a big question mark at quarterback moving forward.
Absolutely. All right. All right. Let's talk about Struby's, of course. Get downtown. Struby's Seafood and Steaks, 107 3rd Street, downtown Baton Rouge. They pride themselves on providing a 5-star dining experience at a reasonable price, locally owned. And again, they feature a full menu of steaks and seafood, USDA prime black Angus steaks, 100% certified Wagyu New York strip. They've got the black truffle lobster pasta, the duck Louisiana, steak Diane, full seafood slate, great desserts. So book your reservation online tonight at strubys.com, and please let them know that TigerBait sent you in. And I need to talk about Dykes Electric, the official electrical company of TigerBait.com. No matter how big or small your electrical needs might be, Dykes is wired for success. You need a brand new 10-story office building, a 200,000 square foot warehouse that you need built, expanding your existing commercial building, changing out a breaker, a whole electrical panel, or just a receptacle, upgrading old lighting in your home or office. They can wire that. They can wire that. Give them a call today at the number on your screen, 225-216-9180 for a free estimate on your project. And please let them know TigerBait sent you over. Again, a great Baton Rouge area company, owned and operated, huge LSU fans. Dykes Electrical, the official electrical company of TigerBait.com. And Tiger Rob Buddy says LSU needs to try to flip the quarterback Houston. Committed to Houston.
I heard the latest rumors we heard on Houston looking at USC, huh?
Yeah, but I think he's talking about a quarterback that's currently committed to the University of Houston.
Oh, okay. Who's that?
I don't know who he's talking about.
Okay. Hey, couple tidbits, and I'm sure you know this, but guess what, folks?
Kayshawn Henderson.
Okay.
Kayshawn Henderson.
Guess what, folks? Bourbon and Cheerios.
LSU offered him Spring, Texas, and then they really didn't get any traction, it didn't seem like.
2 games at 11 o'clock this year. It could be 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. At Vandy, if you're going to Nashville, that is a 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock start. And LSU hosting Arkansas is going to be an 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock start.
Vanderbilt should be the biggest attended LSU road game for LSU fans.
Everybody usually takes over that stadium, but they are better now. Diego Pavia.
Where would you rate that beyond Clemson, after the Clemson game, as far as the most dangerous road game for LSU? And by the way, Vanderbilt has an off date the week before.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what Alabama's going to be like, but I think with their coordinator that they've got coming to join Kalen DeBoer, they're going to be better there. Look, none of them are easy. Oh, I'm telling you, I watched Oklahoma. I watched that game against Alabama, and they knocked the living heck out of Jalen Milroe. He never wanted to go back there. Ole Miss is always tough over there. They're tough to beat over there. And as you alluded, Vandy had some big wins at home. Vandy, Ole Miss, Alabama, and Oklahoma. This is why Mike, not to be negative, is just saying that schedule on paper, you're going to have to bring it every week. You just are.
And the thing about it is I know I'm going 9-3.
Yeah.
But I think LSU's better than every team on the schedule except Clemson.
Yeah. Well,
it's just difficult.
Yeah. It's hard to know when LSU is going to gel. And we always talk about defenses ahead of the offense. If that defense can win them an ugly game on August 30th, then you take care of business against the Cupcakes and Florida. Then you're 4-0 going to play Ole Miss on the road.
I think BK wins the toss versus Clemson and takes the ball.
I think BK wins the toss at Clemson and goes on defense because he says, wait, I don't want to bang that. He does what he's just – I'm believing in my defense this year. Oh, by the way, just want to run some new defensive players real quick. DeMarcus Cooley is a safety they got in the portal. DJ Pickett is a very good cornerback. Mansour Delaney, he's going to start at one corner. Patrick Payton, predicted to be a first-round draft pick. Jabari Butler, another edge rusher. A.J. Halsey, 6 foot, 220, going to make you forget Burns and Sage Ryan. Jaden Breaker, recruit. South Carolina wanted him. Really can run. Obviously, let me put my glasses on here. Who is that? After that, we get into Pyburn. Obviously, Jack Pyburn is going to be a guy that brings pressure and stops the run. C.J. Ross is a freshman recruit. Jim Coley, both of those are linebackers. Keelan Moses, you expect him to play special teams or red shirt?
We'll see.
Zach Weeks, supposed to be the best of the three, like Justin Jefferson. We sit Pyburn, Bernard Gooden, and then Walter Mathis, Brandon Brown, Zion
Weeks
Williams.
Plays on special teams.
Huh?
I think Weeks plays on special teams.
Yeah, and Sadir Mitchell. So my point is that you've got 22 new defensive players, and along with these coming back, Harold Perkins, what are you going to get from him? C.J. Jackson, redshirted. Michael Turner had a great spring, redshirted.
I'm going to be shocked if Harold Perkins doesn't have a huge year.
Joel Rogers, redshirted. Kalaj Cobbins, redshirted. Jacoby Gury, what's Tank going to do?
I want to know what Cobbins is going to weigh in August.
I don't know, but I'm surprised he stayed with all that talent at edge rush. I'm glad he did. Jacoby Gury, Tank, does he come back?
Yep.
And then Wallace Foster. That's 30 defensive players.
The question on Jacobian is how many plays does he give you a game?
Oh, he won't get that many.
Is he a dozen?
Now.
Is he a dozen snap a game?
I don't know if it'll be 20 or 25 or 12, like you said, but I mean, there's more talent at D line than they've had in recent years.
I think if Jacobian is giving you a dozen snaps, it's a good sign.
Yeah, well,
That means
Bro and McKinley probably going to start.
That means that they've upgraded.
Yeah, sure, no doubt.
And yeah, Dr. Butler with a comment. He says the Tigers are recruiting better players. Outstanding defensive players have not been our cup of tea lately. Nuss will throw to the equivalent of a track relay team. Great stuff. Yeah, I know what the feelings were of a lot of LSU fans. It spilled over to radio and things got ugly last season. I know I grew tired of Chris Hilton discussion and is he hurt? What's the deal? Is he coming back? This is the most excited I think anybody should be about Chris Hilton. I think he's a different guy now. I just knock on wood. He stays healthy. He's the difference. And I absolutely believe had he been the guy he was at the end of the year, healthy and doing what he was doing, LSU has at least one more win last season.
Dr. Butler, as always, on cue. What he's talking about, folks, is the offensive talent. And I don't think BK would give up his wide receiving room to anybody in the country. All you got to do is say 0, 1, 2, 4, 6, and 12. Xavier Thomas, Anderson, Destin Hill is a new guy. Chris Hilton, Nick Anderson's a new guy. Barry and Brown, don't sleep on number 6. A lot of people telling me he is going to be a nightmare for defenses. Kyle Parker coming back from the injury, and then 2 young pups that are freshmen. Teron Francis, a true freshman. Kyle and Billy
First touchdown versus Clemson, Aaron Anderson.
Aaron Anderson. Okay. Well, we get close to that. But my point is that the big offensive players also that are coming in this year, folks. Philip Wright, probably redshirt. Harlan Berry. Let's you and I have a bet. Is he 187, 190, or 185 come first practice?
I'll give him 191.
Okay. JT Lindsay. You think he's in the mix or
maybe, but I'm hoping Caleb Jackson is ready to be the guy.
Josh Thompson and Braylon Moore are going to play. And then LSU has 3 incoming freshmen.
We got somebody in the chat asking about Trey Holly. Is he cleared? I mean, we still nothing there.
No, nothing on it. But Karius Kearns, 6'5", 335. Tyler Miller, 6'5", 337. And Solomon Thomas is 6'4", 3 1/4. And Brett Bordelon. We hadn't talked about the last of the Bordelons. Another 6'4". LSU has some size, but Mike is going to wait to see if Brad Davis can get them all on the same page.
All right, everybody. Get your national championship LSU baseball gear at Alumni Hall. Beautiful store in Perkins Row. We talk about them each and every week. Go to the front page of TigerBait.com right now. You'll see it right there in the first 3 or 4 stories. We're keeping it push pin there. You can click on that, and we've got all the LSU national championship products. We've added multiple products. Some of them have sold out already, but we've got them all there in one place for you. Please use our links. We get credit for it. But the code, all one word, TigerBait, and you're going to get 10% off. So you order $100 worth of national championship gear, or if you're buying, gear getting ready for the fall, new LSU products are arriving daily. You order $100 worth, you get free shipping, and you can get 10% off with code TigerBait. So you can't beat it. Alumni Hall, right there in Perkins Row, and they've got it all: the Johnny O's, the Peter Millar, Southern Comfort, all the new Nike gear for football season, national championship gear, and so use the code TigerBait as always.
By the way, congratulations, Cade Anderson, named the 2025 Corbett Award winner of LSU's top male athlete, Louisiana's top male athlete. So great to Cade Anderson. Man, I'm still getting
Anissa Morrow
Anissa Morrow won the female version, but I'm getting a lot of people thinking Cade Anderson is going to go 1, 2, or 3 in that draft. Coming up in about 10 days, we'll keep you updated on that. But is it still? Look, I don't know if you've watched any of the SEC network, but when they have a championship team, they show the celebration and they congratulate LSU and all that. But it's still a little bit surreal, and that's what we've got to remember. How many of you, raise your hands, if you thought a month before the end of the season that LSU was going to win the Natty in baseball? Now, baseball's different. You can lose games. You got to play more games, and you play quicker. But the point of it is that did you think they were going to win it a month before the end of the year? Because I didn't. I know you were all in.
I mean, I don't know if you watch them in the SEC tournament and they lose to Ole Miss that you're thinking they're going to win it all. So what was that date compared to the end of the? I mean,
Yeah.
what do you? About a month, almost exactly a month between a regional, super regional weekends.
But that's the difference with baseball. See, you can peak at the right time and win the Natty as long as you get into the big dance. In football, you got to be one of the top 12.
I mean, if you really think about postseason NCAA, other than Little Rock and that magical story for them, LSU absolutely took care of business.
They did. They did. But
took care of West Virginia.
But a month before, they were leaving the bases loaded. They were running the bases poor. The defense was so-so. And, of course, they were having trouble throwing strikes with the bullpen.
And then a month before that, Milam was in a slump.
Yeah, they peaked at the right time. So I think we said this last time out. If Jay Johnson could give his inner coaching prowess to Brian Kelly this year, and everybody copies off everybody. What did we say with Jay Johnson? He's a combination now of Skip Bertman and Nick Saban. Brian Kelly has got to get it done early in the season. He does that, they're going to make the playoffs. If they lose that first game, Mike, you got no margin for error.
Thomas Spencer says Trey Holly's court date set for this month is delayed due to air conditioning problems in the courthouse. Man, that's 19th Judicial District baloney right there, ain't it?
Well, yeah, but there was
they
one
are looking to move the trial to another parish in the fall.
Yeah, but there's one other thing. I think one of the star witnesses against Trey Holly got in some trouble. And so that thing is way, way up in the air right now.
And by the way, you know, that gun charge still isn't a small matter.
Well, I know, but we'll see. We'll see. It's somebody asked me if they ever thought he would play. I think it's too early to talk about that, but certainly this year he's behind the
But you don't need him.
Yeah. No.
Unless you have a rash of injuries.
Yeah.
Brad David, Mike, does Preston still do a show on Mondays? He does. He'll start the first Monday in August. Maybe end of July, but I think it's going to be the first Monday in August. He just does football through football recruiting. He needs to be going year round, but we'll see.
See, I'm being nice. I was going to mutter that his wife would let him, but I'm being nice tonight.
Yeah, there you go. I want to go back to this is what I was looking for. Our buddy Fizzbuzz, Andy Whitaker. On defense, I'm most interested in watching Keys and Pickett's this year, and he adds, if Chris Hilton jumps for another ball at chest level, I might punch my TV.
Well, that was one of the teaching moments during the season last year when Chris Hilton came back. He did not have his timing, and he jumped too early and missed, 3 or 4 balls. And one time BK even, but he came back, and Mice made the great point. But this is a beautiful thing that I'm trying to tell people. We think about that, and you say, well, if you had Hilton, now you got more guys that can burn. You got more vertical threats, and we're not even talking about 12 personnel with Brewer Sharp and Trey Green. So you're going to have some opportunities to have
Who
some
has the
plays.
most receiving yards?
Who
you can predict for most receiving yards?
Mm.
And does that guy have the most receiving touchdowns?
It's early for me, but
is there a chance a tight end has the most receiving touchdowns?
Well, look, it just depends on how quickly they get rid of the football and what they call.
I think Anderson's going to own one of those categories.
Okay, well.
Or does Brown come in and be one of those guys?
Barry Brown, I had some people that saw him play in high school at Nashville, and one of my coaches tell me he is going to be a difference maker. We didn't see a healthy Nick Anderson. We saw about an 80% Nick Anderson. We saw about an 80% Dustin Hill. So that's what we're trying to tell you. There are a lot more bodies. You're going to have to do more
I like
study.
to feel that Dustin Hill's an older kid.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying there's going to be a lot of new names and numbers.
And he's physical.
And I think it's going to be fun to follow, but they got to get ready quick.
Case in 83, Mike Buddy, how do you think Kyle Williams will do in his first year as a D-line coach? I think he's going to do very well, mainly for what we were talking about earlier. This is one of the most talented and deep bunches that they've had interior defensive line in a while. And then we know what they did in the offseason with the edge. I think all all told, that bodes well. Look, when you have a very stout defensive line and you've got guys coming off the edge that can provide pressure, whether they get to the quarterback for sacks or not, if it's hurry or they got to get rid of it quickly, that is going to make your cornerbacks look a whole lot better too.
Well, I think the main thing that people ought to know is that Kyle Williams is an incredible person, and when he speaks, people listen. This was an undersized guy that maxed out. There's no way that guy should have played 13, 14 years in the NFL, but he has experience. He's going to teach all those nuances, and I think they're going to be appreciably better. I think it gets back down, Mike. We start talking about the pressure from the edge. You talk about stopping the A-gap with the D tackles. Then you talk about your linebackers and your safeties and your corners. But I would be shocked if that defensive line is not held a block. And Fizzbuzz, I'm going with you, man. Whatever you say. And Fizzbuzz, you know, you're sitting on 9-3. I guarantee you, a pack of Amanda sausage. Fizzbuzz is going higher than you.
Preston's got a story coming out tomorrow morning where he polled almost all the LSU media people and sports media in Louisiana without putting their names on it and before fall camp to give their predictions for the season. And he's got a little dive into that's going to post tomorrow morning.
Okay, because I picked 12-0. I hope he didn't put my name on it.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I feel pretty good about where I was at based on what the replies he got.
Well, I tell you what I said. I said 10-2 if they beat Clemson and 9-3 if they don't.
I think that's where everybody's at.
And so what we were just trying to say is that, and I know you've said this a couple of times, and I agree with you 100%, and it's hard for the LSU fan base to understand this. They could be an appreciably better freaking football team in 2025 and have a lot of pressure if they lose early to run some tables. You're going on the road. You mentioned Vandy, at Alabama late, at Oklahoma. Well, Ole Miss is early. That's what I'm saying, though. You lose either Clemson or Ole Miss, you got one loss the rest of the year. 10-2 is probably and Oklahoma's going to be better, especially at the end. So,
yeah, I mean,
the schedule, what I'm saying is they could be better and still be 9-3.
Can you imagine being 9-2?
Going to play Oklahoma?
And Oklahoma, maybe Oklahoma's locked for some Texas Bowl or something.
They got a chance.
And they get to be the spoiler and have LSU at home, probably a night game in Norman.
Yeah.
You don't want that to happen. Don't want that. All right, here it is, everybody. Genesis of Lafayette. In fact, let me put this one up on the screen because this is their most popular model. You see it on the screen. The 2026 GV70 at 4.99 APR for 60 months. You cannot beat that. And the GV80, the bigger one, the mid-size, 2025 at 2.99 APR for 60 months. Absolutely fantastic buys in that luxury SUV market. Best interiors of all the in their segment. Outdo the Germans at their own game, and just fantastic vehicles. And there's a reason why you need to go to Genesis of Lafayette. They're the premier luxury dealership. They sell more Genesis vehicles than any other dealer in the state of Louisiana, and huge inventory of new and certified pre-owned Genesis vehicles. 6600 Johnson Street in Lafayette. And I'm telling you, LSU fans, I don't care if you're in New Orleans, Shreveport, Monroe, listening to us in Houston, East Texas, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, it'll be worth your time to call Genesis of Lafayette. They'll bend over backwards if you're having to travel in to get the vehicle, and you're just not going to beat them on price. And they're going to go find you the color that you want, the interior that you want, the options you want. And trust me, I tried to get one for the missus a year ago, and it was the best deal experience I've ever had dealing with an auto dealer. And then they started sponsoring the show. Give them a call, 877-856-2961. You can go to genesisoflafayette.com and see what their new and certified used inventory is. Just fantastic people over at Genesis of Lafayette.
Miss Scarborough, the future Miss Scarborough, said to me before we started, Buddy, I love Mike, but I'm just this close to loving that Genesis, just almost the same. She is in love with that vehicle. And don't forget, Tiger Woods is alive because of the safety.
She wanted that Havana Brown interior. They went all the way to South Florida to get it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Havana Brown, Havana, Cuba. They went to South Florida to get it. There you go. All right. Tiger Rob, does 9-3 get LSU in the playoffs this year? No. I'm not.
Probably not, but we don't know how it all is going to.
You would have to have a major 2007 upset specials pave the way for something like that.
Well, the question is, and Ivan Mizell and 3 or 4 other new additions, they've got 13 people on the committee, I think, and 3 or 4 of them are new. One of them's Ivan Mizell.
I thought he was selling Tupperware these days.
Huh?
Ivan Mizell. I didn't know he was still around.
Yeah. Well, he's on the committee now. And I'm not a fan of his. I won't discuss our interaction that we've had years ago. But the question is what are you looking for to get in? And if strength of schedule is a part of it, then, that schedule on paper, LSU
should be a big part of it.
Pretty tough.
Especially after what happened in last year's playoffs.
But let's just answer the question like this. You don't want to find out this year if 9-3.
Brad David says 9-3 might get Florida in the playoff because of their schedule.
Ooh, the Gators are, once again, man, they got, of course, the schedule's the same as they were in 24, except the venue has changed. If you played at home this year, you're on the road.
Chance Babin, have y'all discussed how shy Chris Hilton is? I'm hoping he gets spun up on media training. He's just a super kid from a super family. And look, again, we always bring up Flaugier.
You saw what they did?
I mean, how can you not have better media training than her on your side?
But you saw what her and Chris did. They got, I forgot how many million that they've given to charities and all.
Yeah.
Super young man and woman.
We get all the Livy Dunn skiing stuff. Covering the women's basketball beat like I do, you're not going to top Flaugier.
Flaugier with a gold medal around her neck also this
Love
summer.
her.
Yeah.
She is fantastic human being. And if anybody has a right to be arrogant or snobby or bought in, and particularly at that young of an age, with all the stuff she's done, American Idol, and man, she's to the moon. I can't talk better about somebody than Flaugier Johnson. And that's Chris Hilton picked a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets to see her work the media. How can that not rub off? I think her work ethic is rubbed off.
But they give back, and that's the great thing.
Yeah. Ray McGee, does Brown commit tomorrow? Yes, he does, 12:15, and I believe it's LSU. Yeah, Andy Whitaker, LSU schedule is rough too. Yes, it is.
See, let's go through this real quick. Let's just say that LSU would lose to Clemson in week 1 and lose to Ole Miss in week 5. And so basically they'd be 3-2. Right now, they would probably have to run the table to finish 10-2. And that means beating South Carolina and A&M at home and beating Vandy, Alabama, and Oklahoma on the road.
I'm just trying to figure out where you could get a third loss. And then you'd have to have multiple 9-3 teams.
Yeah.
And then what would have to be the order of those 3 losses?
Yeah.
And when would that third loss happen and where?
This is why the start's so important. If you get 2 losses early, man, you got to run the table.
You don't want that third loss to come the last weekend.
No. And Oklahoma is not going to be a cupcake this year.
And Alabama's in this typical November spot. I just don't know how it lays out good for LSU to have the order right of the losses and when it drops for the recency bias and all that stuff that happens.
All right, if you're planning a wedding, we give you some spicy tidbits. LSU plays 5 weeks in a row. Then there's an open date after Ole Miss. They play 3 more games, and then there's an open date before Alabama. And so 2 open dates. Check those dates. If you're going to get married or if you're going to get involved with a wedding, at least try to do it on those open dates.
Dr. John Sibley Butler, OU will have a tougher time recruiting the SEC. Their recruiting base was Texas with members of the Big 12. Now kids are choosing between LSU Aggies and Horns. I think Dr. Butler might have a little bias there.
Well, but here's the big
He's ready to
news.
dig a grave for Oklahoma.
Here's the big news.
But Texas, what is
Their AD is retiring in about a year. Joe Castellone, who's one of the best ADs in the country. And why is that important? Because that coach.
they're coming to get Woolward?
Huh? No. But, when your AD that hires you goes bye-bye, there's a lot of pressure on
There's
the
no
OU.
saltwater fishing in Oklahoma.
There's a lot of pressure on a lot of coaches, but you got to be nervous when your AD says he's retiring.
Yeah.
This is a big year for OU. It really is.
There it is, everybody. Bays, the new restaurant in Baton Rouge. You got to get downtown. I'm telling you, it's just a fantastic oyster bar. 315 North Boulevard. I'm not a big oyster guy, and I couldn't quit eating them when Preston and I were there 3 weeks ago. And they're serving up the freshest farm-raised oysters from Grand Isle. No mud, no grit, just clean, delicious flavor. And if you're not into oysters, swap in some boiled shrimp, which those things are fantastic as well. I had a sample of that. And I'm telling you, the best po' boy I've had in a long time. The turkey brie and bacon sandwich is out of this world. I don't know where they're getting their bread, but it's the best po' boy bread I've ever had. They've got a roast beef po' boy that I think you can eat 2 days off of. And so they've got all that. And of course, a fully stocked bar complete with top-notch bourbon, whiskey, and a massive craft beer selection. So don't miss out on Baton Rouge's newest oyster spot, and make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. And this is another one that's locally owned. You got these fly-by-nighters that come in and out of Baton Rouge from New Orleans, and they can't figure out where they want their location to be, and they close up and come back, and you know what I'm talking about. Quit messing around. Just go to Bay's Oyster Bar, downtown Baton Rouge. All right, let's get a few more in here. John Smith says, another great show. Thank you, John. And Chance Babin, if LSU had won a natty in 2011, then 2019 never happens. Would y'all trade 2019 for a 2011 title?
I'm not going to trade 2019 for any year. I don't.
19 was the most fun that any fan base and media that cover that team than any. I'm sorry, if you want to give me the 5 greatest teams in college football history, there's no way those fan bases outside of LSU had a funner time, because the blowout wins, the offense, the Heismans, the awards, the way they won the games. Whereas 2011, there was still some nail biting but that was a great team too. That
was a great team in the regular season.
Is that the greatest team to never win a national championship?
Yeah. Well, all I can tell you is the 2019 LSU team was the first SEC team ever to go 15-0. And if you look at what those guys did and now the money that they're making, that was an incredible team.
What would the payroll of that team have?
Holy cow. Joe Burrow, after he got robbed, is spending $3 million on the Batmobile now. You heard that?
Yeah. And
Cincinnati, of course, is going to let him get hurt again because they've done a PP, the first word I can't say, but the poor job of giving him offensive linemen to protect him. We will talk next week about O-linemen. Is Braylon and Josh Thompson going to come in here and start? Or are we going to have some of these guys back? Is Weston Davis good enough at the right edge and Tyree Adams good enough at the left edge, at left tackle and right tackle, respectively, to protect Nuss? And then, we had a comment earlier about the run game. One of the things Joe Sloan and BK will get asked this in the coming weeks, how are you going to get more creative with your run game? And how are you going to be a little bit smarter when you get down in the red zone at the 20, the 10, and the 5, being able to utilize that run game? And
I like the Quint slant to Bauer Sharp in the end zone in the red zone.
Look, man, I saw Bauer Sharp last night for Oklahoma.
I like Chris Hilton in the back of the end zone.
Look, I know you love 10 and 3, but it's fun to dissect it. And I just wanted to tell you what all these names and numbers and players. This is basically almost a new team, Mike. I mean, you've got 50+% of guys that have never played here or didn't play last year because of injury or redshirt. And so I'm excited about the potential, but man, I hope they're doing the work that they got to do, because you got to get big and strong. And let's throw in, You got to get lucky with injuries. You got to get lucky with the bounce of the ball. You got to get lucky with weather. And please, for all of those that lost family or kinfolks in Texas, and I heard there was some other flooding in New Mexico, been crazy stuff. We've been there before. We've seen it, 16. So put those folks in your prayers, please.
Brad David says 2011 still makes me so mad at Les by having that game plan. Brad, here's the thing. Enough time has passed. So most LSU football players like to protect the brand. They're not going to go on talk shows or be on a post-game show and be overly critical even after a bad loss. I know Brandon Taylor will get a little spicy after a ugly loss. But you ask any of the players on that 2011 team about what took place leading up to that national championship game, off the record, if you run into them at the bar or wherever, and ask them about the scrimmaging that they were doing during game week and all the hitting they were doing, they had nothing in the tank because of that knucklehead Les Miles.
It doesn't help when your quarterback's playing craps till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but people want to go to the Jarrett Lee, George Jefferson debates and all that bullshit. No. It's Les Miles and what he did to that team. They had no legs. And it was obvious in pregame warmups.
Yep.
It was absolutely obvious.
It was obvious when
they were a step slow from the beginning of the game.
Well, look, Saban is no longer there, but he got
the other conspiracy about the Saints having their guy up in the rafters filming the practices and all that. No.
21-0 shutout.
Yeah.
By the way, Nick, I think threw the ball 20 times, if I remember, on first down. LSU was not ready.
Who was the running backs coach for Alabama back in that time? And he recruited Louisiana. Burton Burns. Burton Burns that whole spring was out recruiting Louisiana, going into high schools, telling coaches, we can't believe McCarron completed all those balls.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, it's 14 years ago. I've tried to forget it. I was in New Orleans doing shows and got food poisoning, so I was sick as a MF. But that's one night I'm not going to regurgitate. I will say this: the 2011 regular season was incredibly fun because they were so good, Mike. You expected them to win every game.
And what did he do, that knucklehead, with the ring that they got? Did he mess it up with something he put on the side of it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Get me started on Les Miles. All right. I got one more to do, buddy. I got to talk about it. Y'all come meet me. I think I'm going to be there Sunday morning. Get over to Capital City Grill, Sunday brunch, the best brunch in Baton Rouge, and you see it on the screen. The chicken and waffles is just out of this world. And so get over there, 100 Lafayette Street, your ideal lunch and dinner stop for casual dining. Great food at a reasonable price. They've got sandwiches, burgers, the French dip sandwich, po' boys, burgers. And again, the Sunday brunch from 11 to 2. Make that your plans during football season. If you're in town and you come in, you got a hotel room downtown, head over to the Sunday brunch before you head back home. It truly is the best brunch. They got the mimosas and everything you need to get going. And go to capitalcitygrill.net and check out their menu. And again, the best carrot cake in Baton Rouge. Get you a big slice to go.
Outdoor seating is fantastic, especially if you get a little wind, you get a little snoop at the weather and the river and all of the stuff coming in. And it's just a festive atmosphere, great bar opportunity. And look, Mike talks about it. Club sandwiches, so consistent with everything. We've been down there at Struby's and all that. We still want to get together with everybody. We're going to work on that a little bit more this summer. And we hope that all of you don't freak out if crazy rumors persist. Regardless if he says LSU or A&M or whoever tomorrow, you got to wait till December to find out if it's the real deal. But I want to see LSU get a little momentum. I looked this up. LSU was picked 5th last year in SEC Media Days. By the time we get back on here next Wednesday night, they will be winding down. Of course, BK and the group go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They'll have the predictions for SEC teams and players and all that. What do you have LSU being preseason pick in the SEC?
3rd or 4th?
I got a 4.
Okay.
Georgia or Texas, 1, 2, Alabama, 3, LSU, 4. Ole Miss, 5. We'll see.
That crowd, I'm going to go 4th. They'll have Alabama 3rd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think that'll be close to the vote.
Well, look, it's interesting. In Atlanta this year at the College Football Hall of Fame, the media people do not like it. It's not nearly as easy setup as it was, of course, Dallas last year. But Georgia, Texas, Alabama, I would think be ahead of LSU. But LSU's got a chance to be right there at 4. And preseason, everything I'm hearing I looked it up, August the 12th last year when the first AP poll came out. So we're a little bit about a month away. I got Clemson coming in at 4 or 5, LSU at 7 or 8. Going to be definitely a top 10 matchup that first night.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, if you're on Facebook, please hit the like button and share. Follow us on Facebook if you're not. And again, if you're watching us on YouTube and you enjoy the show, hit that like button and hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you're not already subscribed, because we got a lot coming your way. I'll be at Lamar Brown's announcement tomorrow. I'll have a lot of extra interviews and stuff after that one. So tune in to TigerBait and our Facebook and our YouTube channels for that. Go over to TigerBait.com now. I put out a recruiting notebook on the website with talking about Lamar Brown and other dominoes to fall and my predictions to round out the rest of this 26 recruiting class. And $1, try us out. I think you'll enjoy the website, and because we're going to have a lot of premium content coming your way. $1 is all it takes to try us out.
And I got you on tomorrow. I got Zach Nagy in the first hour and Mike right after Lamar Brown if you tune into the radio show. If not, stay hydrated. Look, I passed by the athletic facility, I saw them throwing. They're getting plenty of work with the wet ball. Showers just about every day. So if you like me having trouble keeping your grass cut, but stay hydrated. Tiger fans, it's going to be spicy. It's going to be fun. Appreciate all of you coming on the ride with us.
All right, everybody. Thanks again. Good night.